My name's Nicholas. I call myself the wave in the ocean, and I took that name from, there's kind of a variety. There's like a lot of different people who have done variations on this quote, but enlightenment is when a wave realizes it's the ocean. And there's all sorts of variations on that. Alan Watts has his own, but that was kind of the inspiration for the name, the idea that I'm celebrating oneness through the accounts, the idea that we all are connected. And that feeling that we can tap into, that we all are one. We are all individual drops of water, and we are also the ocean itself, right? Because the ocean is made of all those individual drops of water. So the wave in the ocean is kind of like my own little personal name for me, but more than anything, it's the name for the community that I've created, and now kind of like has a life of its own and kind of maintains itself, where people from all over the world come to share in kind of our collective and healing and growth and evolution as humanity. My crazy mission is to make us all feel healthy and joyous, and that starts with me practicing what I'm learning and sharing what I'm learning with other people.
I love that. Nicholas, you just inspired me two different ways just now.
Okay.
Right off the bat. I knew I was going to ask you about this, or curious, and you shared right off the bat as far as the wave in the ocean, which I found that fascinating, because the main analogy that I'll use, or the main description, if whenever we talk about we are all connected or we are all one, I always use the analogy of if the ocean is representative of all that is, the universe, then we're the individual waves, which even though the waves may look separate, may look different, different sizes, you can't have the entire, all that is without each individual wave.
Yeah, it's all ocean.
Yeah, they're just expressions of, all that is. So
yeah.
When I saw that on your page, I was like, that's awesome. That's his Instagram handle.
Thank you.
And then the quote that you just quoted is awesome as well. I'll have to take a look at that. But I've heard the one over the years as far as, we are not the single drop, but the universe expressed in a single drop or something.
Yeah, I think that's Rumi. So that's like the, he was a Persian poet. So that was like Rumi, like 800 years ago said it. And like Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist teacher, said it. And Alan Watts, my favorite spiritual philosopher, said it. So it's kind of like, it's a really good metaphor, I guess. Apparently it sticks, right? As an analogy, it withstands the test of time. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the second thing that you said right there at the beginning, or towards the end of you were just sharing that, when Nicholas was describing his community and recognizing, which is just the truth for all of us, like really the greatest impact we can have on others is by, embodying it and living it ourselves and being an example of anything that it is that we want to see in the world. So Nicholas described wanting to see people happy and healthy, and he's becoming more and more aware of how to be that and live that for him, and then being able to express that and then inspire those around him in his community. And for anybody out there, no matter what it is that you want to be or to do or whatever it is, like if you just embody it, you'll inspire people around you. Want to help people be happy, help people be healthy. So I love that you said that right off the bat.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a journey for me to fall more into love with practice. I think I've always been, I've had a tendency towards infatuation in my life. So like I've been studying Eastern philosophy for about 20 years now, but a lot of that was studying rather than practicing. And there was a large part of my life that was even teaching more than practicing. And, especially in the past year or so, like I've fallen deeply in love with the practicing part and really seeing myself like on a perpetual journey of growth. And like anybody who wants to come along, please come and join me, and we'll share in it together. But it feels so good to like really try to embody things. That's what I think the key is for us to step into our own power and share that power with the world. Yeah.
I love it. I'm always curious, like with you, Nicholas, how did it, like, so for all of us, I know we come here to Earth, or little unconditional loving little babies from non-physical, and then we take these physical bodies and,
and then all hell breaks loose. And that's when the real shit begins.
I playfully say this because I guess it's all possibility. Like there's universal law and then there's possibilities. So I guess it's possible that someone can come as an unconditional loving baby, never forget who they are, and just evolve into this just like super being, because they just always are just keep maintaining that awareness. For most of us, we forget and then have to remember at some point. The light bulb will come back on. How did that journey look for you? How did the light bulb, come on for you?
You said it, man. There's this, we could talk all day about, This is a great question. How necessary is suffering, for spiritual awakening of some kind, or for growth as a human? How necessary is discomfort, let's call it. For me, it's been kind of necessary. I don't want to say that it's necessary, but it has been, as Ram Dass called it, the suffering has been the spiritual sandpaper for me. That has been what really has inspired me to examine my life, examine my role as a drop of water in the ocean, my connectedness with everybody, and really find ways to explore my own thoughts, the way that I'm creating my own reality, and the way that I can, how to heal, man. I had to learn how to heal, and healing is not, for me, it's oh, something's wrong with me, so I have to fix it. At first, that's what I thought healing was. I'm realizing through my suffering, and we can talk about some of my suffering. I'm absolutely in love with my suffering, or my perceived suffering, I like to call it. But it has taught me that healing is not necessarily about fixing a problem. It's about achieving greater and greater and greater levels of wholeness. It actually comes from the Greek word whole, healing, holos. So it's all about feeling better and better and better in all sorts of ways every day. And not only experiencing greater love and compassion for myself and the world and falling in love with that, but it also opens the door to the more you feel, the more opportunity there is for sadness. You can get hurt. But I'm embracing the world more and more through some of the difficult things that have happened to me in life. And for me, it's been chronic illness. Suffered of chronic illness for about 17 years now. And about 4 months ago, got the diagnoses after years of searching. It's such a blessing to get the diagnoses. It's such a blessing to have opportunities to explore what's not making me feel wonderful, in certain areas of my life, and examine them and change them and learn how to be a conscious creator and learn that I'm responsible for creating a beautiful life for myself. So I feel like I've kind of gone maybe on a tangent there from your original question, but if you're asking me how did it all get started, it started about 6 years ago with a girl who broke up with me when I thought we were going to get married. And I was, addicted to smoking marijuana and addicted to drinking alcohol. And my life was kind of in the shit. And I decided to make some changes slowly but surely and start practicing some of the things that I had been reading about for so long. And it started there. And since then, I've been on this journey of growing, encountering suffering and, having resistance to that suffering and being annoyed. What happened? I was feeling so great. I was so compassionate towards myself and all beings. And then seeing this suddenly coming around slowly. Here it is. And maybe each time it takes me a little bit less time to realize, this is another opportunity for growth, rather than, this is another crappy thing in my life, everything's so bad. I slowly am starting to learn day by day, practice by practice, that I recognize that. I know what that is. That's hard times. I like hard times. I know that hard times have actually made me who I am. I know that hard times are the whole reason I'm able to feel more love and compassion for myself and others today than I did yesterday. And hopefully, God willing, I can say the same thing tomorrow. So that's my answer to that question. If it's an answer.
Love it. There's a lot. Honestly, when this comes out, you guys should rewind and listen to Nicholas's just what he just shared, because there were so many beautiful elements in how he shared that, and it's inspired me to share what normally before I share this, I can tell the human being that I'm sharing it with is probably my favorite thing to share with another human being. So yeah, and it just inspired, and it's about what you described as far as how the challenges in our life and all the what we would describe as the rough parts or the suffering or whatever it is as of today, every single one of us on the planet are as clear as we've ever been as far as what we like, what we don't like, what we want, what we don't want, as we've ever been in life, because of all the life experiences that have led up to today in all areas of life. So whatever your relationship status is out there, what you desire in a relationship more than you ever have as of today, because of all the life experience in the form of relationships that you've had to today. Great news for all of you, and for all of us, if we're still confused or still not certain, the more life experience we live from here, the next month, the next year, you're going to have, even, it's not promised, but as you live it, it's going to be even more clarity that you have, because you're going to have more life experience. So the beautiful thing for all of us is if we can just get clear on what that is that we desire from here, that we'd like to see manifest, that right now isn't existent in the physical, but energetically, like we can tune into it because of all the life experience. If we can actually start embodying that, like we talked about, and live that, then we can see physical manifestation in the form of synchronicity showing up of, I didn't even know this person existed 2 seconds ago. And now all of a sudden we're hanging out, and then 40 years later, we're still hanging out, you know, if you want a relationship out there. And so it's super interesting how, you know, all of these challenges, even though challenging typically in the moment, is really what is allowing us to create the things that we want to create. And if we can appreciate those and not condemn them and, you know, think that, you know, we're broken or it's too late for us because of experiencing them, because it's just not true. They're all actually really blessings for us if we can use them as such. We need the baggage of them where they are, because the actual experience already served us in the moments of experiencing them. We got the clarity, the lesson, we got what we needed. So we can just bring those with us to the present. Then it's a much more harmonious experience.
Yeah, it's a little bit lighter. I like that, man. And it's such a good point that you brought up, that like, yeah, for people, you know, I think we're all confused from time to time, right? And we're confused in different areas of our life. And part of the journey is learning to accept that like confusion or indecision is part of the human condition, and it's okay. But like, yeah, our goal is to get more clarity. And one of the things you said that I think is so important, like for people that are still confused in certain areas of your life, for all of us who are confused in certain areas of our lives at certain times, it comes from living. It comes from experience, the clarity. It doesn't come from like ruminating up here and planning it all and like, well, I think that was such a good thing that you said, that like, that's my invitation to those of us who are suffering from confusion or uncertainty is like, get out there and live. It's the only way that you're going to figure it out. The mind is not designed to solve those kind of problems. You know, the mind has a very specific kind of skill set that it does. And so, yeah, you got to get into living and experiencing things. And for lack of a better word, like try stuff out, you know, to figure out like how to get more clear. I didn't like that. Boom, there's clarity, right?
Absolutely. I love it. I'm so pro life experience for this reason that Nicholas described. Like, I highly recommend any like little energetic nudge towards, even like a curious nudge, like, I'm curious about this thing. Do a Google search, you know, just let some spark go to whatever that, you know, seed of interest is, because you never know what that could turn into, as far as like, oh, now I'm really excited to keep going in this direction, or I don't want to go further in that direction. But you could all of a sudden be on a path where it's like, wow, this feels really in alignment, and I'm going to just explore this more. And then all of a sudden you're passionate about something, and like you're creating something, and life can shift for all of us like really quickly if we allow ourselves to act on the inspirations, you know. I love that.
Life can shift very fast.
For sure.